Wind gusts are up to 25 miles per hour. They will be lightening up tonight, and tomorrow the winds will be much calmer than we've seen over the last few days. There is a chance of showers over the weekend, which we'll talk about coming up, and it will turn much colder as we go into next week. Right now it's 50 in Central Park, 49 degrees at LaGuardia, and Atlantic City's checking in at 54. Not much is happening on the radar. We just have a couple of clouds spilling in right now. There is a trough in our vicinity, and that will kind of give us a chance of an isolated sprinkle, I think, east of the Hudson River, possibly the Twin Forks of Long Island. But for the most part, we're going to stay dry for the rest of the tri-state area. Temperatures mostly in the 40s. Will crack 50 across parts of the region, and it's going to turn much colder as we go into next week. I'll have all the details coming up. Antoine?
We are warned. All right, Artie, thank you. Well, if you use the PATH train to come in and out of the city, prepare to pay more. But with more service, more comes along with the hike. Fox 5's Stephanie Bertini live in Hoboken to break this now. Stephanie, you're just a messenger here. We understand it.
Absolutely, Antoine. Good afternoon. The Port Authority of New York and New Jersey promising changes that would really, if implemented, change the experience for PATH riders, some of them who have been frustrated for quite some time, as many of us know. The Port Authority is proposing major upgrades that would restore 7-day service on every PATH line for the first time in 25 years. Under the plan, weekend riders can expect faster and more direct service that's starting in 2026. Now, for example, next year, service on the Journal Square to 33rd Street via Hoboken line would double, with trains every 10 minutes instead of every 20 minutes. Another example, by May 2026, dedicated Hoboken service returns on weekends, offering direct trips to the World Trade Center and 33rd Street, removing the extra stop for Jersey City riders. Now, to help pay for the expansion, PATH fares will increase in small increments, we're told, and that's through 2029. In 2029, a single ride is expected to reach $4. Right now, a single ride is $3. All of this is tied to the completion of the PATH Forward rehabilitation program. That's a multi-million-dollar effort that focused on upgrading the PATH.
So in order to fund these improvements, the 2026-2035 capital plan proposes raising fares. PATH is unique among major transit agencies in that we do not receive local, state, or federal funding to support our operations. And as a result, PATH fares only cover about 25% of the actual costs of each ride, with the Port Authority subsidizing the remainder of the ride.
You know, a lot of people interested in this one, Antoine. For example, here in Hoboken, where we're live this afternoon, I've talked to people who for years have said, look, we just want the PATH to be more reliable and to help us get into and out of Manhattan more effortlessly, for example. So we're going to keep following this one. It's a big one. It's a talker. Back to you inside.
Bet it is a talker. All right, Messenger Bertini, thank you so much. Tensions escalating between the United States and Venezuela coming up. Details on the Trump administration's military buildup in South America as it plans to run what it calls a counter-drug operation. Plus, food pantries are struggling to meet the needs of hungry New Yorkers right now. We're going to speak live with philanthropist Jessica Seinfeld about how her nonprofit is helping. 12:07 on your Friday. We'll be right back. Ukrainian officials say at least 6 people were killed and more than 30 others injured in a series of Russian missile and drone strikes targeting Kyiv overnight. The attack left gaping holes in some of the city's buildings. Search and rescue crews were looking for people who may be trapped. Now, in a separate attack, Russian drones hit an energy facility in the Odessa region. At least 1 person in that area was hurt. The most advanced aircraft carrier in the United States is approaching Venezuela as the White House ramps up pressure on leader Nicolas Maduro. This comes as Venezuela deploys weapons and military personnel. Fox's Madeline Rivera has this story.
America's largest warship arriving near Latin America. The USS Gerald R. Ford and its strike group joining a massive U.S. naval buildup in the area as part of President Trump's anti-narco trafficking push. But Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro has called it an attempt to remove him from power. And he's announced plans to deploy military personnel and weapons in response.
We will continue to prepare ourselves to defend our homeland in all areas, whatever the threat, its intensity, its proportion.
The aircraft carrier's deployment comes after the White House announced 2 more strikes on suspected drug smuggling boats in the Eastern Pacific that killed 6 people. Pentagon Chief Pete Hegseth says the vessels were, quote, associated with illicit narcotics smuggling, were carrying narcotics, and were transiting along a known narco-trafficking transit route.
We need to make sure we're deterring what they're doing down there, which is to try to undermine our country.
President Trump has justified the deadly strikes, saying the U.S. is in armed conflict with drug cartels. The lawmakers on both sides of the aisle are demanding more information.
There is no strategy. All they're doing is blowing up a bunch of wooden boats and killing dozens of people with no end game here. And they're spending hundreds of millions of dollars in the process.
Fox News has learned the UK has suspended intelligence sharing with the U.S. over these suspected drug smuggling boats over what it views as illegal strikes. In Washington, Lucas Tomlinson, Fox News.
Coming up, parents in New Jersey demanding action to keep their children safe. Details on their push for new legislation targeting dangerous drivers who blow past school buses that are stopped. And then later, are processed foods to blame for more causes of cancer in younger women? We're going to explain right after the break. Well, this morning, elected officials, advocates, as well as parents gathered in West Orange, New Jersey, to urge the passage of the school bus safety legislation for the Garden State. Now, the legislation would authorize the use of automated school bus stop arm enforcement technology to prevent motorists from illegally passing buses that are stopped. Last month, the Woodbridge Township School District released shocking data that found nearly 3,000 drivers actually blew past stop signs as students were getting on and off school buses.
This bill is about prevention, about protecting children before tragedy strikes. We have the data, the model, and the technology. What we lack is time. Every day we delay, we risk another child's life. It's time to act now.
Currently, there are 32 states that have passed laws allowing school bus stop arm camera enforcement programs, including the neighboring states of New York, Connecticut, Delaware, Maryland, as well as Pennsylvania. The disruption to SNAP benefits during the government shutdown impacted many families across the country. Now, even though the shutdown is over, people are still feeling the effects. And that's where the Good Plus Foundation comes in. It's a nonprofit that's packing up supplies and sending them out to people in need. And joining us now live from the organization's warehouse in Midtown is its founder, Jessica Seinfeld. Jessica, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thanks for talking to us.
Jessica, it's so hard for so many people right now. Can you just tell us what it is that you and the foundation are working on?
Well, today, like we do every day, we pack up care packages for New Yorkers' neediest families. Right now, we're working on our youngest New Yorkers. We're putting together diapers and diaper cream, shelf-stable food, things that we know parents really, really need but are really struggling to provide. It's wreaking havoc on our families, and so New Yorkers should know Good Plus Foundation has their back.
Jessica, we know that you have many people that are working hard, as we can see there behind you, but what can people who are watching this interview now who may also want to help support you as you're trying to take care of New Yorkers?
Yes, we cannot do this alone. GoodPlusFoundation.org has lots of different ways that you can support this work and be part of it and come in and volunteer. We need everyone's help.
Jessica, you've been around since 2001, and just tell us about the idea. How did you get inspired to start this nonprofit?
Well, I had my first child in 2000, and I was really shocked by how expensive it is to provide for your child in a city like New York. And my mom's a social worker, and I grew up really always understanding what families need. And so I started what was, I thought, a 6-week project, and here we are 25 years later, pairing essential goods with innovative services, like repairing diapers and wipes and strollers and cribs, with services like prenatal classes, parenting classes, food assistant, job training, all the things that help lift parents out of very difficult situations.
Jessica, just tell us about the distribution as far as the things that you're packing, exactly where they will be going and how people can get them.
Yeah, today we've got loads of care packages going to the Bronx and Queens and Brooklyn, to early Head Start programs, to at-home visiting nurse programs, where we've got young newborn babies and young parents waiting for these kits to arrive.
All right, Jessica Seinfeld, thank you so much with the Good Plus Foundation. Thank you for what you are doing to take care of New Yorkers who are still trying to get out from under during this.
Thanks for talking to us.
All right. Everybody, a chilly start to your Friday if you have not been outside, but RB Puente is telling us we could see some warmer temperatures today. Is that right?
Well, we're going to see temperatures in the 50s in many spots. In fact, we've already cracked 50 in Central Park right now at this hour here, Antoine. Same thing in Islip. We're now at 51 in Belmar. It's 51 also in Newark. A little bit colder, though, off to the north here. We have 46 in Poughkeepsie. It's 48 in Sussex, and Monticello is checking in at 39 degrees at this noontime hour. The winds are also a factor here, so it looks nice outside your window. And yes, we are a few degrees warmer than we were at this time yesterday. However, the wind will definitely add to the chill today. Right now, the sustained winds are between 10 and 15 miles per hour, but we have gusts of 23 in Islip, 25 down the shore in Belmar, and 26 over in Monticello. Today, you want to be on the sunny side of the street for sure. And we can see plenty of sunshine across central and southern New Jersey, the east end of Long Island. There is a cloud deck that's rotating in here from the north, so we're seeing a little bit more in the way of cloud cover in places like Sullivan County, over towards the Poconos. coast and even up towards Sussex and into Passaic, too, into New Jersey. We have a couple of isolated sprinkles off to the central part of the state, and I think we're going to stay mainly dry. But there is a trough in our vicinity that's kind of diving down, so that's going to help spill in some cloud cover across the region. And it's also going to squeeze out an isolated sprinkle in areas east of the Hudson River and maybe out towards Long Island, too. Other than that, it's relatively quiet across the midsection of the nation. High pressure is keeping things storm-free there. Out towards the west, though, different story. California is going to be plagued with the possibility of some flash flooding as we go into tonight and into Saturday as well. It's a story we'll probably hear about more as we go through the next day or so. Here at home, though, we're just going to see a mix of sun and clouds. Again, we could get a sprinkle in areas around the Hudson Valley, into Connecticut here, maybe Fairfield County, also into the Twin Forks. That's it. Everyone else will stay dry. Tonight we go mostly clear, and we'll also have some frosty patches too, so be aware of that. You may see some frost on your windshield early tomorrow morning. When you get up tomorrow, we'll have a mix of sun and clouds. Catch that sun early because the clouds will thicken up ahead of our next rainmaker that's going to make its approach. We'll start to see a few passing showers as we go into the afternoon here, let's say after about 2 or 3 o'clock, and then it kind of blossoms by dinner time. So if you have Saturday night plans, definitely plan to have an umbrella handy because you could get caught in one of these rain showers. And the rain will be a threat as we go into about 11 o'clock, maybe midnight, and then the front clears everything off the coast. And the next day on Sunday, we'll wake up with dry conditions and a mix of sun and clouds. A big northwest wind flow could pick up some moisture off the Great Lakes, and that could deposit a few showers well north and west of the city. So today we're looking at highs in and around 50 degrees. Tonight we'll drop back to 36 in the city with mostly clear skies. Tomorrow we'll go with 53, 56 on Sunday. That feels nice. Enjoy the 50s because we drop down into the 40s for highs starting on Monday, and next week looks to be cold, but it also looks to be dry. Antoine, over to you.
Oh, aye. All right, Audrey, thank you. Next at noon, everyone, a new survey is painting an alarming picture of Americans' finances. Coming up, how many Americans are actually living paycheck to paycheck and why the White House is now responding. A new report on the country's economic health shows just how worrisome conditions are for many Americans. Bank of America says that about 1 out of 4 American households are living paycheck to paycheck. The analysis states that factors such as slow wage growth are to blame. Lower and middle income households are facing the worst of rising costs, and an increase of middle-aged households depending upon weekly paychecks is actually contributing to daily worries. Just after an election where many Democratic candidates hit affordability issues quite hard, the White House is now tackling the topic. Vice President J.D. Vance discussed the issue in a Fox News interview. He says that the administration announced trade deals yesterday that are aimed at lowering prices on groceries like coffee, bananas, as well as chocolate.
You've already seen signs that things are getting better. The price of eggs has gone way down. The price of energy has gone way down. The price of gasoline has gone way down. And as we know, when the price of energy goes down, that starts to filter out into the entire economy.
Republicans in Congress are also talking about prices now that the government is back open, but Democrats say Americans need a concrete plan to actually bring down costs. A new study is linking ultra-processed foods to a rise in colorectal cancer in women under the age of 50. Here's what we can tell you. Researchers found that foods like soda, processed meats, and snack chips may actually be playing a role. They analyzed more than 29,000 female nurses who were in their mid-20s to early 40s at the start of the study. Now, those who ate more ultra-processed foods had higher risks of developing abnormal clumps of cells that grow in the colon or rectum and can actually develop into cancer before they turn 50 years old. Coming up next at noon, an urgent warning about a sophisticated scam. One woman is sharing her story about being duped into hopes of protecting others. Plus, if you're planning to eat out this Thanksgiving, Time Out New York is here to tell us which restaurants are serving up the best holiday meals. We'll be right back.
New York City is delivering for you every day, everywhere. Major crime is down citywide. A record number of new homes have been created, and a brand new universal after-school program is available for our kids. With safer streets and thriving small businesses, NYC is delivering for families, making this the best place to raise yours. Find out more at deliveringforyou.nyc. Local.
12:30 on your Friday. Welcome back to the Noon. We've got a lot more coming up. We're taking a look at a new phone scam police say that you need to know about. Plus, if you don't feel like cooking a massive meal this Thanksgiving, Time Out New York is here with details on how you can get some of the best holiday meals in the city. But first, let's take another live look outside where it's actually quite pretty coming in. You know, Audrey, I thought it was chilly a little bit, but you say it's warm, averaging 50s, correct?
Yeah, we already hit 50 degrees in quite a few spots, Antoine. That shot showed that we do have a mixed sky out there. The clouds are decorating our skies today, and it's actually pretty decent when you look outdoors. 50 right now in Central Park, same thing in Islip. A little cooler in East Hampton. We're in the 40s there. Same thing in Bridgeport and White Plains. It's exactly 40 in Monticello, and we've hit 51 in Newark as well as Belmar and in Trenton, too. The winds are getting our attention today, too. They are coming out of the west and anywhere sustained between 10 and 15 miles per hour, but the gusts are even higher. We're gusting to 25 in Belmar, 23 in Trenton. Same thing in Islip, and Monticello is checking in with a wind gust of 26 miles per hour. So that's going to add to the chill factor as you move along through the day. It looks nice outside, but when you step outdoors, you might want to have an extra layer out there. There's a cloud deck that's also rotating in. It's kind of giving us some decorative cloud cover across parts of the area. Other parts are seeing more in the way of sunshine, like areas around 195 from Belmar on Southwood and out towards the Hamptons, too. There's a trough in our vicinity that's helping to spill some of those clouds into place here, but not much moisture is associated with it. The few speckles that we see here are coming downwind of the Great Lakes, so we could get a few sprinkles in places like Sullivan, Ulster, and Dutchess counties. High pressure is keeping things quiet for most of the nation. The exception is out towards California, where there's a storm system that will bring significant rainfall to Southern California from LA to San Diego. They do have the potential for flash flooding tomorrow. In the meantime, for us, it's mainly dry. We have that trough in place. Again, we could see more clouds spilling in here. A chance of a few sprinkles around Fairfield County, heading towards the Twin Forks of Long Island. Overall, though, it's going to be a very quiet evening. In fact, it could get a little chilly, too, and we do have patchy frost expected overnight. Tomorrow, we'll wake up with a mix of sun and clouds. We have a chance of a couple of sprinkles early, but then by about 2 or 3 o'clock, we're going to start to see showers begin to blossom here on the radar, and there will be the threat of rain right through the evening. So if you have Saturday night plans, you want to pack an umbrella, or at least have one handy in case you get caught in one of these rain showers. Everything will kind of exit the coast by midnight, and then things will dry out overnight, giving us a nice start to our Sunday here. We'll have a mix of sun and clouds. Outdoor events should be just fine if you have any games to get to on Sunday morning. In the afternoon, we'll see a mix of sun and clouds. A strong northwest wind flow off the Great Lakes could deposit a few flurries well northwest of the city, probably around Sullivan County, maybe even northern Ulster County. That's about it. So for today, we're looking at highs to be pretty much where they are right now, mostly near 50 degrees. And then tonight, we're going to drop back to the freezing mark in White Plains, colder off to the north. And again, we could see some frosty patches overnight into tomorrow morning. Tomorrow, we'll start out with a kind of a mixed sky, and then it looks like we'll have rain coming in here, probably after about 3 or 4 o'clock, starting off to the north and then gradually working downstate. Tomorrow night, we'll have on and off rain showers. They'll linger into about midnight. Sunday morning, we'll wake up with a mix of sun and clouds. It'll be much drier with a chance of a shower off to the north. Then as we go into next week, it turns dry, sunny, but very cold. Highs will only be in the middle to upper 40s, overnight lows in the 20s and 30s. So it's going to be quite brisk and below normal as we go into next week. Antoine?
All right, Audrey, thank you. An urgent warning to tell you about from police after a woman is scammed into thinking that her sister was actually kidnapped. Our Teresa Priolo caught up with the victim who shared her unsettling story.
What am I going to tell my mom if she dies?
It was Monday night. Stephanie, who asked that we only use her first name, had just finished a FaceTime with her mom and sister. They said goodnight and she went to bed, only to be startled by a phone call from what appeared to be her sister's cell phone.
It was not her on the other line, but a man. The man said that he had my sister, that he would blow her brains out if I did not send him X amount of money.
A hostage situation with Stephanie's sister as the victim, held in her New York City apartment. The only way out alive was cash.
He was saying that he just got out of jail, that he needed to get home. He needed money to get back home. He started asking me for Zelle payments, and that was the first payment I made.
Complicating things, a woman is in the background, screaming, pleading, and crying. Stephanie was panicking. She logged on to Find My iPhone. Her sister's phone pinged to the apartment. So she was home.
She has this way she cries. She has this hiccup in her cry. And I swear to God, that's what I heard in the cry as well. So to me, it was real.
She transferred what money she could, but it wasn't enough. The man warned, don't get the police involved or your sister's dead. Then the call disconnects.
And we tried it from another phone. We tried it from my cousin's phone, and she was not answering.
Eventually, the family contacted the sister's doorman and asked him to do a welfare check. The sister answered the door. She had been asleep the entire time. Turns out this was an AI-assisted scam with a brazen sophistication that's rarely seen. We wondered how something like this could happen. Where did they get the number, the voice, the information, the ability to have a continuous conversation without hiccups or interruptions?
They grab information off of Instagram or Snapchat or Facebook Reels, whatever the case is, anything where there's video with audio. They can grab all that likeness of that person, put it into a fraud GPT generator, and create the exact likeness.
The experts say there is one way you can tell if, in fact, this is a fake, and that is to ask the person on the other line a question that they wouldn't know the answer to. What did we have for dinner last night? What is our favorite restaurant? Tell me what color hair my sister has. Questions that they would have to be human to know. But they also tell us you have to make sure that you are calm, cool, and collected in these kinds of situations. In Bergen County, New Jersey, Teresa Priolo, Fox 5 News.
Next at noon, we're going to check entertainment headlines. A good night for Bad Bunny at the Latin Grammys. Details on the major award that he took home. And later, if you're looking to make some plans over the next couple of days, well, we've got a couple of ideas for you in our weekend preview. We'll be right back. Bad Bunny taking home Album of the Year, the Latin Grammys. Now it's the Puerto Rican sensation's first win in a general category for his album Debí Tirar Más Fotos, which translates to I Should Have Taken More Photos. You can catch Bad Bunny performing at the Super Bowl halftime show coming up in February. Cardi B celebrating a whole new chapter, new music, new album, and now a new baby boy with Stefon Diggs. So in yesterday's Instagram post, she shared the news while lip-syncing to Hello, calling this season Me Versus Me. She later showed off two pink floral strollers on Instagram, happily saying, I just had a baby, I love this stroller. Now the baby arrives just before Diggs' 32nd birthday and is Cardi's fourth child as she heads toward her big 2026 tour. We're also getting a look at the upcoming movie adaptation of Wuthering Heights starring Margot Robbie and Jacob Elordi.
Why did you leave me? Sometimes you betray your own heart.
Where is the obstacle?
Now, the film is based on the 1847 romance novel of the same name by Emily Bronte. It centers around a love story between Kathy and Heathcliff, who struggle to fight their feelings for one another despite Kathy feeling the need to marry someone rich in order to keep her social status. The movie reunites Eldorey with director Emerald Fennell, who worked with him on the 2023 hit film Saltburn. Wuthering Heights hits theaters on February 13th. We've also got a sneak peek at Taylor Swift's new docuseries. Take a look at this.
My main goal is to give something to the fans that they didn't expect. I'm gonna get past a phone. I'll be like, aren't you playing a show right now? Yeah, about that. Why aren't you here with us? I'm somewhere where everyone is screaming so loud. Oh, I love having a good secret.
So as you can see, there's a little backstage fun between she and Sabrina Carpenter. The 6-part series is a behind the look at Taylor's Eras tour, which is the highest grossing tour of all time, bringing in more than $2 billion. The docuseries will be released on Disney Plus December the 12th. Okay, Sting revamping his Broadway musical, and it's taking it to the Met Opera House. The Last Ship will be performed at the legendary Opera House in June for just 9 performances. The superstar himself will be starring in the new production. Sting also wrote some new songs for it. The Last Ship premiered on Broadway in October of 2014, but it closed months later in January of 2015. Next at noon, a special celebration for our Harlem Museum. Details on the Studio Museum's new space and how it will bring more arts programming to the community. But first, Thanksgiving is literally around the corner. Time Out New York joining us in studio for a look at the best Thanksgiving meals to get in and around the city when we come back. So Thanksgiving just around the corner, and whether you are in the city or the suburbs, plenty of places to dine out for the holiday if you don't feel like cooking. And joining us to rank restaurants with the best Thanksgiving dinners around the city, in and out of the city, Morgan Carter, food and drink editor at Time Out Media, is joining us now. A lot to get to. Thank you for being here with us. We know some people do not want to cook, want to go out.
Right,
exactly. So let's start where I live, Harlem.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, talk to us about Red Rooster.
Red Rooster, it's a Harlem institution. It's been there for 15 years now. It's a Marcus Samuelson restaurant, and there are two different experiences going on. So the Chef Rashara Sanders, she is doing a turkey pre-fee on the top floor, $85 per person, and this is turkey with like all the sides, like mac and cheese, collard greens, cornbread, all that amazing stuff. And then if you go downstairs, they have Guinea's Supper Club, and that's kind of like their speakeasy jazz space.
A little lounge.
Yeah, a little lounge, a little kind of, relax. And they have a turkey buffet going on down there too. But they have live music on both floors. They have live R&B, live jazz. So kind of a nice place to get the groove on this year.
How about in the Catskills? You've got a restaurant there too you want to talk about?
Yes, it is called the DeBruce. I feel like it's kind of nice if you wanted to plan a getaway, but you kind of ran out of time. It's about a 3-hour drive away from the city. This is a property that's been there since the 1800s. They renovated it in 2017. They have this beautiful floor-to-ceiling windows. You can look out into the Catskill Mountains.
Oh, wow,
look out into the trees.
At it.
It's stunning. And for Thanksgiving, they're doing a $125 feast. It is a family-style feast, but you do get to choose your entree. So you can go for, turkey, rosemary-crusted turkey if that's your deal, or you can do the dry-aged duck if you kind of want to change it up this year.
Okay, so duck is an option also.
Yeah, duck, why not? And I feel like if you end up spending the night, it's a lodge after all. They are doing a morning hike. You can get hot cider when you come back. So just kind of a weekend away.
Now, this one is unfamiliar to me. Lex Yard.
Lex Yard, yes. So this is a new restaurant inside the Waldorf. This is after 8 years of renovation, $2 billion of renovation at this hotel. And if you haven't been to see the hotel in itself, it is stunning. But Lex Yard, it's a bi-level restaurant. Chef Michael Anthony, he is a 4-time James Beard Award-winning chef. This is his first Thanksgiving in the space. To me, this is like if you want to ball out, because it is $225 a person. But at the same time, you can add on caviar service. You can do oysters. They have a bone-in ribeye with bone marrow butter if you really want to get that rich kind of feeling. But at the same time, even the base level, it's just amazing food. You get 3 sides per table. You get complimentary bread service. It comes with dessert. It's just an amazing kind of meal.
Complimentary wine at all? Do you know involved in that?
There's definitely going to be a wine pairing in there, and they have an amazing selection of wine and cocktails. I love the cocktails too.
All right, and that one was $225.
$225.
All right, now, any other ones that you can think of off the top of your head? If people have been asking you, your ideas and thoughts?
Yeah. I also like the idea of kind of like a takeaway too, right? Because sometimes, you still want to stay home, but you don't want to cook.
Right.
So there's another restaurant called Cha Cha Tang, and they're doing a Thanksgiving special. I believe it feeds about 6 people. Also a little bit different. They also have like a dry-aged duck that they're selling. I believe it's $4.25, but it feeds 6 people. It comes with these amazing sides as well. And you don't have to lift a finger. You can just heat it up. Or you could pretend like you did it, but you can just heat it up and let people know.
Morgan, a lot of people are doing Friendsgivings, or have been doing, so this sounds like something that everyone said, hey, you got 20, or in some cases, maybe 40, 50, per person to split it up, right?
Yeah, right. Just like invite the people over. You can bring, you can kind of have fun and like bring different wines you want to pair with it, or maybe some non-alcoholic drinks, and just, have your Thanksgiving your way.
Can we ask you what your plans are? Have you planned to go to a restaurant? Are you cooking and have people over?
See, I have family in D.C., so I'm going to D.C., and I believe I'm cooking the mac and cheese this year. They have allowed me to do it. So
allowed.
I think you have to work your way up, you know?
You are absolutely right, Morgan. In my family, I've been allowed to do the sweet potato pie. So you are totally right with that.
And one year they took it away. So I'm like, I'm ready. I can do it again this year. So we'll see.
The Carter family sounds a little rough there.
I mean, they're a little judgy, but it's fine.
Okay. Morgan Carter, thank you for being with us for Time Out New York, food and drink editor there for us. All right, thank you for joining us. We've got more noon straight ahead. We'll be right back. All right, everybody, check this out. A ribbon-cutting ceremony today for the new and improved Studio Museum in Harlem. The museum was first founded in 1968 to promote the work of artists of African descent. Its new space is located in its longtime location on West 125th and will allow the museum to expand its educational opportunities and its exhibits.
It's a celebration of extraordinary belief and faith in our institution and what it stands for. The preservation of Black art in America.
Today's event also included a special dance and a cappella performances. If you're looking for something to do this weekend, we've got you covered. Fox 5's Ryan Christopher has a look at what's happening around the tri-state.
The New York Comedy Fest brings the laughs all weekend long across various venues throughout the 5 boroughs.
I have some news jokes if you
yes,
go for it. I wrote one down.
Okay.
Cuomo, more like Nomo. That was supposed to be for NPR. How are you guys? How are you guys? Let's not get political.
I thought you were going somewhere with that.
Fanatics officially opened ticket sales for Fanatics Fest 2026, returning to New York City July 16th through the 19th. And to mark this special moment, the company has unveiled a first-of-its-kind installation in Williamsburg, the most valuable billboard, the MVB. Check it out at 22 North 14th Street. Open today at Macy's Herald Square. Check out the 45th anniversary celebration of Pac-Man. You can see the immersive arcade experience before the Ghost Gang says game over.
Sure, I've been in love a time or two, but in the end I still chose you.
Saturday night in the Bronx, Drew Hill and Cisco bring their smooth sound to the Lehman Center with special guest Christopher Williams.
So you're shaking that thing like who's the ish with the look in your eyes so devilish. I'm a sucker for you. Yeah. Say the word and I'll go anywhere blindly.
And Sunday and Monday, the Jonas Brothers return home to the Garden State for 2 nights at Prudential Center on their Greetings from Your Hometown tour.
You make every day feel like it's Christmas. Every day that I'm with you.
All right, everybody, there you go. And still to come on the noon, a new poll naming the worst drivers in the area. And New Yorkers are not going to be happy with the results. Don't blame me. Plus, a classic children's toy is making a very big comeback where you can get your hands on the new and improved version. Oh, yeah, there it is. We'll be right back.
NY News.
All right, listen up. If you are feeling lucky, you may want to buy a Mega Millions lottery ticket today. That's because the jackpot for tonight's drawing is close to $1 billion, $965 million to be exact. And if you win and take the cash option, you'll even get about $445 million before taxes. Tonight will be the 40th drawing since someone last picked all of the correct numbers back on June 27th. The odds of winning the jackpot, they're slim, 1 in more than 290 million. All right, here you go. Drivers in New Jersey say that New Yorkers are not very friendly when it comes to sharing the road, sparking a very heated debate that I can't wait to see. Fox 5's Kendall Green caught up with drivers on both sides of the Hudson.
In case you were curious who holds the crown for the worst drivers around, drivers of the Garden State have spoken.
I already saw it that New Jersey said that New York drivers are the worst.
And your response to it as a New Jersey driver, what do you think? Is it legit?
I would say that the taxi New York drivers are definitely the worst.
A third of them in a new Rutgers Eagleton poll say you can find the nation's worst group of drivers with tags that point back to the Big Apple.
They cut you off a lot. They are in a rush all the time. I don't know why, even if it's Sunday.
They honk the horns a lot. I don't know if they follow all the traffic signs, and usually some explicits that come out the window.
You think New Jersey drivers are any better, though?
Oh, yeah, well, definitely.
A lot better?
Laid back, and, we are not in a rush as much.
You sure?
I think so, yeah.
Ironically, they didn't rank themselves that far behind. A little more than a fifth of New Jerseyans say they're just as bad.
Well, I think because we're so close, and the majority of the people on the road are New Jersey, New York drivers, there's a little competition there, I would say.
So to settle it, we took our own trip down the Lincoln Tunnel to get to the bottom of things, and well...
I just was in an accident. Yes, somebody slammed into the back of me.
In New York or New Jersey?
In New York.
Behind New York and New Jersey came Pennsylvania drivers, followed by Florida, with Massachusetts finishing in fifth.
They got made the test a little more harder. I'm serious. Some drivers just...
They don't belong out there.
Yes. They turn when they want to.
Now, one New Jersey driver says he wasn't surprised at all with the survey and offered this solution for those drivers behind the wheel. Just adopt the tendencies of drivers with whatever state you're in and you won't have any trouble. Off the New Jersey Turnpike, Kendall Green, Fox 5 News.
All right, so sorry, Buddy and Rex, you are no longer the top of the list of names of dogs. According to the online pet supplier retailer Chewy, the top names for canines this year are Bella, Luna, Daisy, Lucy, and Max, as well as Charlie, Bailey, and Cooper. They're also on the list. Chewy users enter the dog's name when signing up for an account. The retailer uses this information to make the list. So that's our show, but before we go, one last thing to leave you with. Just in time to make it for the Santa Christmas holiday list, the Easy Bake Oven is making a comeback. Sam's Club is now selling the beloved childhood toy on its website. The company says they've been retooled to work more like a conventional oven. Easy Bake Ovens previously used a pair of light bulbs to heat the various foods. The toy is being marketed to children 8 years old and up. It costs about $35. A lot of those were in our household coming up between my sisters and my cousin. All right, everybody, that's going to do it for us. We'll see you tomorrow. 25 words or less is next. And if you want more news, tune into the Fox local app streaming right now. Have a great day.
No.
Let me give you the rundown here. This is okay. Weather, and the PATH train is her story, Stephanie's story, so she's going to open with a bike.
And I may switch this up. I may say, hey, take this camera or whatever. Okay?
We're live.
Okay, here we are. Welcome to Newsroom Live, everybody. I'm Linda Schmidt. We are live for you here today from the Fox 5 Newsroom. And what you're looking at right now, another gorgeous shot of the city here in New York today. It's a pretty day. You can see some clouds there. It's supposed to be about 50 degrees today. The weather's not going to be so great over the weekend. Some rain is heading in for tomorrow and Sunday. So get out there and enjoy that day today. We can come live to me now there, Eric. Hey. Welcome to Newsroom Live. I'm Linda Schmidt. We are live for you here today, every day from Monday through Friday from 1 until 2 o'clock. You can catch us on the Fox Local app, which you are watching us on right now. Also, our YouTube channel, the Fox 5 YouTube channel. So you can see us there right now as well. We have a lot of news to bring you today. It has been an extremely busy week. It's an extremely busy day today. The first thing we're going to be getting to, though, the PATH train going from Jersey to the city. The fares and tolls are going up. Riders learned about that yesterday. Port Authority having a news conference announcing that yesterday. We have some sound from the Port Authority from yesterday, so we're going to go ahead and roll that right now. Go ahead, Eric.
– What we have the benefit of is learning from the examples we've seen elsewhere.
So in order to fund these improvements, the 2026-2035 capital plan proposes raising fares. PATH is unique among major transit agencies in that we do not receive local, state, or federal funding to support our operations. And as a result, PATH fares only cover about 25% of the actual costs of each ride, with the Port Authority subsidizing the remainder of the ride.
That announcement yesterday, the reason they're saying they need the increase in the fares and the tolls is because they want to do an expansion at Newark Airport in addition to increasing rail services for the PATH, in addition to some other construction. All right, my colleague Stephanie Bertini is out. We're not going to go to her just yet, but I want to take a look. Guys, let's go to this overhead camera right here. So this is another shot here. You can see us all. This is Eric here. He's operating everything there. We got Dave over here. He's assisting us as well. We got Michael here who's observing. He's training on how to do this whole Newsroom Live thing. And I want to show you, just take a look here, because right up there is Steph Bertini. We're going to be going to her. I should have a pointer. Yeah, it's a little overexposed. But anyway, she's up there. She's part of our mosaic there. And so, hey, Steph, we're going to go to you now. So you're out in Hoboken. You're outside the PATH station, obviously. So, bring us up to speed on what's going on here, because I don't care if you take the subway, if you drive over a bridge, or you take the PATH. You are never happy about hearing that fares are going up. So what's happening?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's not something that people would be celebrating, but we're talking about incremental increases until 2029, when it's expected a single ride will cost $4. It's $3 right now. I got to tell you though, Linda, I've talked to so many people, as I'm sure you have too, who have come in and out of this train station here in Hoboken and have said, I wish the PATH was more reliable, or that it was easier, quicker to get into Manhattan. So, basically, the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey is promising some changes that would help frustrated riders get around, specifically in and out of Manhattan, quicker. And so the increased fare, it's meant to help with that. Now, for some time, there's been an effort, a multi-million-dollar effort to make improvements on the PATH. Now the Port Authority is proposing major upgrades that would restore 7-day service on every PATH line for the first time, Linda, in 25 years. Under the plan, weekend riders, they can expect faster and more direct service. So here's one example. Service on the Journal Square to 33rd Street via Hoboken line would double, with trains every 10 minutes instead of every 20 minutes. That's expected by 2026. So that's just one example. So the idea here is to be able to catch the subway or the train, the PATH train to Manhattan quicker, to get out of Manhattan quicker, to be able to move around quicker on the PATH. And yes, they are saying we're going to see some fare increases. $4 again, to recap, by 2029 is what we're hearing.
Okay, so by 2029, so we're going into 2026, so we're talking over the next 3 years. It'll be a phased-in increase, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, incremental increases up until then.
Okay, and I'm reading here that the reason Port Authority unveiled this, it's part of their $45 billion capital plan, and what they want to do here with this money is they want to expand Newark Airport. They want to, like you're talking there, increase the rail service on the PATH, as well as construction of a new bus terminal. So do they really think that increasing fares, you know, incrementally over the next 3 years, they're saying that those increases are going to raise $45 billion?
So, without getting down to the dollar and cents minutia of it, Linda, what I can tell you is that that's the question a lot of people have, right? Like, how does my fare go towards fixing all of this, right? But what they are saying is that, you know, the fares only pay for a certain percentage of what it takes to operate. So talking on the larger level, the big picture level, and they're saying that this is a little bit that will go towards that goal. You know, the PATH is very old, so there have been steps to improve, to upgrade. We've seen it, upgrading lines, upgrading different things. And we've heard people say, look, it's not reliable. And there's delays. I've talked to a lot of people over the last couple of years, Linda, ever since I've been reporting in the market anyway, and you've been here covering the area longer than I have, but who have told me, look, I can't guarantee that if I take the PATH to work, I'm going to get there on time. That's not something people want to deal with. So I don't know. Will the fare increase automatically solve all those problems? There's other factors here. As we know, this is multi-layered, especially when we're talking about a multi-million-dollar approach to fixing and improving multiple things. But what we do know and what we are hearing is that these increases will help towards making things move smoother. And for commuters, sometimes it's like you got to look at it like, does this promise what I really want? And what we've heard a lot of commuters say is, I want a more reliable PATH. So we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to keep reporting on this.
Yeah, and you know, the thing too with the PATH, I mean, you're right there in Hoboken. Hoboken is one of those cities. It's a really cool city. Lots of 20 and 30 somethings live there. Most of them do not own cars. So the PATH is really their own, unless they want to take the bus. The PATH is really the most direct way for them to get from Jersey into the city to go to their jobs. So they're really kind of stuck. They don't really have a choice. When it comes to these increases, there's no alternative for them to get from Jersey to the city.
Right. So then it becomes, do you want to do this? Do you want to use your old means? Do you want to just, you know, pay a little more? Maybe it'll help improve things. There are also a number of people, as you know, Linda, who might come to Hoboken specifically just to take the PATH. So drivers who might park and go, we've seen that too. People that live in other parts of New Jersey. So, you know, on any given day, you might say, oh, I'm going to drive in today, and then there's a major wreck. Okay, let's go park the car at the nearest station. So the idea here is that riders have said for a long time, look, this is not reliable enough. In some cases, these are commuters that are used to commuting from the Manhattan side, so dealing with different issues for sure with the MTA and with the subway, but who have said, you know, the frequency is not what it is here in New Jersey. We've heard that for a long time with the PATH. And so that's the main thing that we're hearing the Port Authority say, okay, we're going to tackle this.
Okay. Hey, listen, do you know what your schedule is for the rest of the day? Are you in the 4 o'clock news block, the 5 to 6? Have they told you yet?
Yeah, and I'm not sure if I'm in the 4, but I will be coming up, I believe, at 5. They're going to decide that in our editorial meeting soon, but we're going to keep reporting on this. And you know what? I want to talk to people because I think it's an interesting point you make. Like, how is an increased fare, $3 to $4, going to make all these changes or implement all these changes? But, you know, I got to tell you, Linda, anytime people are hearing more money in this time, I mean, we're dealing with inflation everywhere. Nobody's going to like this one today. So
No. And let me tell you something. I've been here for 32 years, and whether there's inflation or not, they never want to hear about any fare or toll going up, you know, because it really does hit people. It hits them hard, especially when they're commuting every single day.
Well, an extra $1 a week, that's $5 a week. And in some parts of Manhattan, you can get 2 slices of pizza. And I know I've been here long enough now to know that with $5, you can at least get lunch for a day or two. So, you know, this is how people think, especially in Hoboken, like you said, Linda, younger demographic, young professionals. Some of them just graduated a couple years ago and they're doing the commute. They're building up their lives. So, yeah, they're not going to want to hear this. But overall, I think we do also have to consider the big picture. There are transportation issues with the path. We've reported on them extensively. So we want to know, can this be fixed? What is the realistic timeline? You know, we're going to hold the Port Authority accountable. We want to see them stick to that timeline. But again, we'll have to see how all this fleshes out. You know, there's a lot of meetings. There's a lot of this. There's a lot of that. The I's and the T's still have to be inked. So we'll see how it goes, Linda.
Okay, Steph, thanks so much. Okay, Stephanie Bertini live for us there outside the PATH station in Hoboken, and we're going to see her on the 5 o'clock news probably tonight, maybe even the 6, which you can also see, Steffi, you know this, on the Fox local app, also our YouTube channel.
Yes.
Okay, so we'll see you later on. Thanks so much.
See you, Linda. Thanks.
Okay. All right, now we're going to move on to, love Steph. She's such a great reporter. Now we're going to move on to an NYPD shooting that happened here in the city in the 19th precinct on the Upper East Side. This is an alarming story. Let's go ahead and roll that video because this was the scene. Now, it all began at a residential building on Madison Avenue. Now, the suspect was first spotted in an elevator talking with another man when officials say without any seeming provoking, did not seem to appear to provoke anything, this person suddenly pulls out a gun and points it at the man on the elevator. Now, the suspect kept pointing it at him until they got to the ground floor, and then he left the building. And then he headed to a nearby deli. And now we have sound from Chief of Patrol with the NYPD, Philip Rivera, about what happened next. Go ahead, let's roll that sound.
He goes behind the counter and points a firearm at a deli worker standing behind the counter and says to him, "Call 911. I'm going down to the hospital to shoot it up." The individual steals the deli worker's phone and flees the location.
Okay, now police say the suspect then went to Mount Sinai Hospital here on the Upper East Side, which is about a 7-minute walk away, and he was seen going inside and then coming out and then placing the gun outside by a tree. The suspect then allegedly goes back in and he tells an off-duty police officer who's working security at the hospital that he has a gun. Well, when the officer tries escorting him out, the suspect then runs off and he grabs the gun that he had left by a tree. Now, the officer then calls for assistance, and that's when other NYPD officers find the suspect just a couple of blocks away. Again, this investigation continuing, but a very bizarre story. So right now we're going to take a quick break, and then when we come back, you're not going to want to miss this. My colleague Morgan Mackay, the political reporter here at Fox 5, she did a sit-down with Mayor-elect Zoran Mamdani, and you're going to want to hear what she has to say about that interview and what he had to say. We'll be back in just a moment. Welcome back, everybody. I'm Linda Schmidt. This is Live Newsroom Live in the Fox 5 Newsroom on the Upper East Side, where you can watch us every day from 1 until 2 o'clock. You can watch us on the Fox Local app, which you are watching us on right now, as well as our YouTube channel. Now, before we went into the break, I said that my colleague Morgan Mackay is going to be joining me, and she will here momentarily. But Zohran Mamdani, the mayor-elect here in New York, sat down with her for her political show. And they talked about many things, but one of the things that he talked about, and we have some sound coming up on that, is that, he had met with Governor Hochul yesterday at her office here in Manhattan in Midtown. And he said that the two of them are working together to figure out a plan to deal with President Trump in the event that the president tries to deploy the National Guard here to New York City, as he has in other cities. Here's what he had to say about that. Let's go ahead and roll that.
What we have the benefit of is learning from the examples we've seen elsewhere. And the threat to deploy the National Guard, it's not unique to New York. We've already seen it in other states. And in California, when the National Guard was deployed, the governor, the attorney general, and the mayor of LA came together to create a unified front.
Okay, that's dealing with the possibility of President Trump sending National Guard troops here to New York City, as he has to other cities. Mamdani also addressed universal child care, which, by the way, is one of his campaign promises. And now, Governor Hochul has said that she is on board with universal health care. It's just a matter of child care. It's just a matter of finding the money to be able to fund that. So that's what the two of them are trying to hammer out now. And that process pretty much began yesterday. Let's hear what he has to say about that.
We are currently in fiscal year 2026. We're going into fiscal year 2027, and we want to continue to deliver on the agenda that we ran on. And I'm excited when we're speaking with the governor, because there's a recognition from both of us on the need for universal child care and the fact that the absence of it is costing New Yorkers $22,500 a year on average. There are some New Yorkers paying more than that. And just yesterday, I was speaking with childcare providers, and they were telling me how difficult the city has often made it for them to just do their jobs.
And that's been a complaint as a journalist here in the city that we have heard many, many, many times when we are talking about childcare, not just for parents looking for childcare, but the people who work in childcare, providing those services and being able to get paid and being able to support their own families, making enough money to do that. Joining me now is my colleague Morgan Mackay. Thank you, lady, for joining me today.
Of course.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
So now, again, this is your second sit down with him for your show, Politics Unusual.
I think it's actually like my fifth.
No, since he was elected.
Since he was elected, I think this is the first time. The first time since he was elected.
It's the first one?
Yep.
I was thinking it was the second time. Okay,
yeah,
alrighty.
so the first time since he was elected, but we did have him on twice after he won the primary. And then we sat down with him. This is the first time since he won the election. And, we just really wanted to talk about his transition over the next 50 days or so.
Right.
And what that's like, how he is transitioning, how he's getting his foot underneath himself a little bit. And then also just, what's next when he gets into office. Those first few days are critical, especially when it comes to, his inauguration. And, there's some threats from Mayor Adams about bringing Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to New York City on the 1st. And Mamdani has said that he wants to arrest Netanyahu for alleged war crimes. And so we spoke about that.
Alleged war crimes dealing with the Israeli Gaza war.
Exactly.
Okay, alrighty. So now, do you want to tell us what he really said about what his plans are for the Prime Minister?
Yes. So he said today that he has no plans. He's focused on being inaugurated. He's not planning on arresting Netanyahu, even though he does feel like he should be held responsible for some things that are happening in Gaza.
Right.
But he says that for too long, New York City has not had a mayor that's just focused on the 5 boroughs. So he says that he is going to be that mayor that focuses on the 5 boroughs, focuses on New York City. And this also comes, and we spoke about this as well, as he has gotten such national scrutiny as well from national media, from people in other countries were coming here to ask Mamdani about just what an example he is to candidates across the country. And many of them, are with that scrutiny comes a lot of criticism as well. So we also spoke about how he's managing some of that. And he said, again, that his focus is going to be on the 5 boroughs. And while many people are looking to him to maybe be the new face of the Democratic Party, he's focused on here and now.
See, and the thing of it is, too, like when you're running, you're the darling for everybody who supports you. Once you get into office, that's when the real work begins. And if he thought he was under a microscope before, just wait until he takes office.
Yes.
Because there's always like this honeymoon phase.
Yes.
When you first get into office, whether it's the mayor's race or state races or even the presidency, there tends to be like a little honeymoon period.
Yeah.
That's a very short-lived period.
Yeah.
And then you start getting, again, journalists looking into what you're doing, what your administration is doing.
Yeah.
Are you fulfilling your promises? Why aren't you fulfilling your promises? Who are you now aligning yourself with, and why is that happening? And is it because he said he doesn't want it to be politics as usual? So one thing that people will look at once he takes office is, does he then become politics as usual, which is almost unavoidable, at least for some part.
And as you well know, the New York City press corps is one of the best press corps in all of the country. And so he has hundreds of journalists here in the city that are going to be scrutinizing every move he makes, every move his administration makes. And he is going to be under a microscope, which he should be. He's leading the biggest city in the United States, and he should be under a microscope when it comes to many of the actions that he plans to take over the next 4 years while he is mayor. But right now, like you said, there's this honeymoon phase. There's this little bit of a happiness when it comes to his hope for the future, because he's not in office yet. He doesn't take office till January 1st. So right now we're still just all talking about, what could happen, what's next, what are his plans, but nothing is definitive yet. So it's hard to pick apart some of these plans because there's just not enough details yet.
Right.
But I will say, having covered, numerous administrations now, I do find it interesting that there's so much focus on him while he is still mayor-elect, and even with his conversations with Governor Hochul, I mean, her already bringing him in for these pretty important policy decisions before he takes office. He was speaking earlier this week at an event that Mayor Eric Adams wasn't actually at. It seems like he's already almost taken the role of mayor as mayor-elect already. And so I think that's been sort of an interesting dynamic to watch, since Mayor Eric Adams has frustrated many people in the Democratic Party after he was his criminal case was dropped by the Trump administration. A lot of people.
But do you think the reason that Hochul is bringing him in, bringing him under the umbrella right now, into the tent right away, is because so many of the things that he wants to be able to do will have a direct impact on her? She's got to be able to work with him to find the money to do a lot of this stuff. Now, the free buses, that's already out the door. That's just not going to happen. But the universal child care, she's really going to try and make this happen. But she says she can't make it happen statewide because it would use every bit of money that she has in reserves. So she can't do that. So she's going to try and do something that will satisfy the people who voted for Mamdani, right?
From my conversations with people and from my perspective, I think it's twofold. I think on the one hand, Governor Hochul has hitched her wagon to Mamdani by endorsing him. Whatever he does next is going to reflect back on her. And it's also, she's facing a re-election year next year, where she's going to get a lot of criticism from people on the right when it comes to some of these programs that Mamdani wants to enact. However, she can't piss off Mamdani's base, and
she can't make them angry.
She can't make them angry. She can't make
For a moment there, you thought we were sitting at our desks next to each other.
I did. I'm so used to talking with you on a one-on-one basis. But I also think she can't anger people on the left at the same time, because she is going to be facing. She has a primary challenger right now, which is her Lieutenant Governor Antonio Delgado, who is trying to run on her left and is trying to be the more progressive candidate. So she's trying to appease everyone, while also, I think, in my opinion, her meeting the other day with Mamdani was to remind him to say, hey, let's work together behind the scenes, but in public, don't blast me. I will try to get some of your stuff done, like the free childcare, but understand that I'm also running for re-election. We have limited funding next year, and so let's work together.
So don't kill me.
Exactly.
Okay. Now, I want to circle back to Mayor Adams because he is leaving or just left for Israel. Mayor Adams has gone to Israel. Before he actually took office, he went to Israel a couple of times, and this is now either his second or his third trip since he became the mayor. And he is going over there again to meet with some officials and talk about what we can do in this country about reducing and eliminating anti-Semitism. Also dealing with some economic issues and there is a kinship between Israel and New York City because New York City is the home of the second largest Jewish population after Israel. So he left today.
He's leaving tonight. Yep.
He's leaving tonight. Okay.
Yep.
But Mamdani has already said he has no plans to go to Israel. So my question to you is this, because the optics are, many people believe that the mayor doing this and going on this trip right now is just kind of needling Mamdani. Like, I'm going to Israel. I know you're not going. And so let me just, a little bit.
Exactly. And Mamdani has, for the record, said that he doesn't really want to travel at all while he is mayor because he does want to, again, focus on the 5 boroughs. He wants to focus on his role as mayor of New York City. However, yes, Mayor Eric Adams definitely just over the past week and a half has been making some policy moves when it comes to, for example, the rent guidelines board. He has said that he wants to stack the board with members who are against freezing the rent for rent stabilized apartments like Mamdani wants to do. He's also just been very critical of Mamdani. He the other day was doing an interview where he blasted Mamdani for calling for the World Cup tickets to be sold to local residents at a cheaper price and to have those set aside for local New York City residents. He said it shouldn't matter the ticket price because the World Cup is creating so much economic activity. It's creating jobs. It doesn't matter. People should be able to go. And so he's been...
Wait a second. That doesn't make sense. Why would you be saying you don't want local New Yorkers and folks from Connecticut or New Jersey? Why don't you want tickets to be affordable for those folks to be able to go see a major sporting event? Why is that not important to the mayor?
I wish that there had been a follow-up in the question to him, but he was doing a one-on-one interview with it's called the Reset Talk Radio or something like that, and so he was speaking there, and he said this, and he's been just very critical. It's just little things I feel like he's been saying about Mamdani that almost come off a little bitter, maybe a little angry. So he mentioned that the other day, and so this has been a string of things, string of comments that he has made that has been just kind of him needling Mamdani a little bit.
Right.
Mamdani hasn't really kept it. He said that Adams is leaving behind a legacy of disgrace, dishonesty, and has just said, that he's going to be coming in. It's going to be a fresh start, but not really taking that bait that Adams is trying to get him to tangle with him a little bit.
He's not going to do this tit for tat. He's not going down that road, and he did not go down that road when he was campaigning either. So he's continuing with that mindset. Now, the mayor's supposed to be back in a few days from Israel. At what point are they going to be able to sit down and talk face to face? Because the transition is coming up, and I know that their teams have spoken. But when are the two of them going to sit down, in a room and say, "Okay, here we go. What do I need to know, and what can I do to help you?"
Yeah, so Mamdani's team and Adams' team have already met. I've spoken with both Adams' team who have said that Adams does want to meet face-to-face with Mamdani, kind of show him around a little bit. And Mamdani just today as well said that he wants to speak with Adams, he wants to sit down, and he's going to be sitting down with him when he comes back from Israel. He didn't give a specific day, but it seems like it would be timed out pretty soon after Adams returns.
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, because the inauguration,
sit down right away.
Sit down right away. And the inauguration is what, 50 days?
A little bit less than 50 days, or 50 days exactly.
Yeah. That's going to be here like this.
Yeah, it's going to go by so quickly. And, Mamdani, that people kind of forget, and I feel like what's kind of cool about having so much national spotlight on Mamdani is I feel like the entire world is getting a kind of government 101 class, a campaign 101 class, because so many people are learning about like what is a transition team, what is it like for him to be going around and hiring, for example, a transition team. That doesn't necessarily mean that they're part of his administration. Right. Some of the people are not going to be staying in his administration once it hits January 1st that are on his transition team, but he has to. Which is typical. Right. But at the same time, the mayor has to be ready on day one. He has to have a full staff on day one. He has to have all of his appointments done. So it's a very busy next 50 days for him, for sure.
Okay, there's another thing here that I'm reading up on, and I had written notes about it, and now that I need my notes, I can't find them, of course. But guys, I'm going to be going to video from the Elizabeth Street Garden. Now, the Elizabeth Street Garden, this is another instance where people really felt that the mayor was sticking it to Mamdani, because this is a public garden, and the folks for this garden, and it's in Manhattan, and they have fought for years to be able to preserve this garden, but there had been talk many times, you're looking at it there, many times about knocking down, eliminating the garden to build affordable housing, including affordable housing for the elderly. But the people who support the garden say, look, there's very limited green space in the city, so we want to be able to preserve this. Well, there was a fight with the city off and on for many years. Ultimately, they won. And the mayor said that they could keep the garden there. But then what he also did now, which will have a negative impact on Mamdani, because Mamdani wanted to actually use this space to build affordable housing. And what happened was the mayor pivoted, and he has now designated the garden as city parkland. So if Mamdani would want to use this for affordable housing, now he would have to go to the state legislature to get the state legislature to pass something so that he could use this property. And now, he's not going to do that. It's just going to take way too much time to do that. He doesn't want to draw the state legislature in on an issue like this for just one piece of property. He's got a lot on his plate. So many people are looking at this situation here with the mayor saying, the mayor was getting him again.
It's hard for Mamdani because he has such a list of high priority items that he wants to get done in Albany. Right. He's down here in New York City, and while he does make it up to Albany for what's called Tin Cup Day, which is a day when every mayor actually across New York State goes up to Albany to relay what they want for their budget and what kind of money they want for the city, for each of the cities across New York. But one of the things he has done already with his administration, incoming administration, is he has appointed Dean Fullahand to be his first deputy mayor. And this is somebody who was not only the former first deputy under Mayor Bill de Blasio, he also was his budget director. Right. He also served for many years up in the state legislature, negotiating budgets for the state assembly. So he's very familiar in Albany. He's a very familiar face. He was one of the top legislative staffers up in Albany. So he's somebody who knows deep context, and he's someone who knows how to get things done as well. He was somebody who helped get the universal pre-K for Bill de Blasio over the finish line. So, so this was an important appointment by Mamdani to do, and it's somebody he's probably definitely going to be relying on for many of these priorities. But I would imagine that this is not going to be one of the big ones that they want to bring up to Albany to get done right away. It might be something. It might be something that they decide to do. However, like you mentioned, this was such a fierce debate. There was such polarizing viewpoints, and when both sides were so passionate about their viewpoint. So, Mamdani could also be like, this maybe almost was taken off his hands a little bit, and now he can just kind of move on a little bit.
Focus on the other top priority items. Okay, so now again, Morgan McKay, she's got her Politics Unusual show, which airs at 6:30 tonight on Fox 5, also Fox Local, and the YouTube channel. And then what are the other times again? Just refresh my memory.
So 8:30 p.m. on My 9 New Jersey tonight, and then it'll air on 3:30 p.m. on Sunday on My 9 New Jersey, and of course posted to our Fox 5 NY YouTube page. And we'll air stream on our Fox.
All right, excellent. She had another sit down with Mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani. We talked about some of the things that they talked about, but there's some other stuff that they talked about as well, including raising taxes. We're not going to tell you what he said. and who it's going to affect, you're going to have to watch Politics Unusual tonight at 6:30. All right? Morgan, thank you.
Thank you.
Always a pleasure.
Always so good.
Love
Thank
it when
you.
she comes on.
She's the best. Thank you.
All right, when we come back, we're going to take a quick break, and then when we come back, we're going to go out to my colleague Jody Goldberg. She's going to be live for us on Long Island and tell us what's going on the island today. We'll be right back. And welcome back, everybody, to Newsroom Live. I'm Linda Schmidt. We are live for you today from 1 until 2 o'clock from our Fox 5 TV station here on the Upper East Side in Manhattan. And it's been a good day so far. Weather is nice here in the city. The rain's coming in for tomorrow, so if you have a chance, get out and enjoy the weather. Right now, I am really lucky to have one of my colleagues, Jody Goldberg. She is live for us right now. She is in Islandia in Suffolk County on Long Island. Jody covers Long Island for Fox 5, and she does a fabulous job at that. Hey, Jode.
Linda, I think I'm the lucky one getting to speak to you and my colleagues. I was able to see Morgan and you guys discuss politics. We're in Islandia. I'm outside of Village Hall. For those of you who may not know, the village of Islandia is separate. It's in Suffolk County. It's right next to the town of Islip, one little municipality, about 3,500 residents, just to give you an idea of how small it is. But as small as it is, something big happened last month. The village actually amended, Linda, its email policy. And so residents may no longer be able to email the village officials if they have an issue. So, I mean, it's 2025 when you're just about on your phone any day and every day.
Right.
Look at me, I'm taking, this interview right now from my phone. It would mean residents can't use their email to send something, complaint or whatnot.
Okay, I have to ask you, why would they be doing this? Because it just seems to defy logic. Why wouldn't they be able to reach out if they have a complaint about something, either make a phone call or send an email? Why are they doing this?
Well, now it's make a phone call, show up in person, or hold on, send a letter, USPS, snail mail. I mean, yes, 100%. But I'm speaking with a municipal attorney in a little bit about it. He says that it puts, working people behind the eight ball because maybe during the day they can't show up here at Village Hall.
That's right. Most people can't show up at Village Hall. I mean, most people can't do that. If you have a complaint about something, look, most Americans work. And if you're not working full-time, you're working part-time. And you really don't have...
That's the thing.
Yeah, you really don't have that available time to go to town hall and sit around and go in and talk to somebody. And 9 times out of 10, they're not going to have the time to talk to you because they're dealing with major backlogs of everything that's going on. Were they just receiving so many complaints that they said, whoa, time out?
They were receiving many complaints. They said many of them were anonymous and they didn't want to have to deal with that. Those who did have complaints would be able to come in person, would be able to call in, would be able to send a letter. But I mean, when was the last time you sent a letter?
I cannot remember the last time
my last letter was to George Santos. I go ahead and send a letter in the mail and see how fast it gets there.
Yeah.
Call, a good old-fashioned phone call. But for this, many residents, and we'll speak to them this evening, and you'll be able to watch my story tonight, are just upset about it because it's the easiest, fastest way to get in touch with someone.
Absolutely.
And people in a village, they want to be heard.
Right. But then on the other side too, Jody, if they are getting a lot of complaints and they are anonymous, then how do you deal with that? Because then you have no idea who to reach back out to, who you're talking to. Is this something real? So that's the other side of the argument.
Well, you can say that if it is an issue, you should be able to put your name on that issue and not have to hide behind a computer.
Right.
I don't know, for those of you on Facebook, in a lot of my groups, there's those anonymous posts. And you almost question if you're not anonymous, what are you hiding? And so if there are issues, why aren't you putting your name on the post or on the email in this case? And so it'll be interesting to see what happens from here. I know there are many people who aren't thrilled about this change, and hopefully we'll have a statement from village officials tonight to find out more about why they did it.
Okay, gotcha. And what else is going on Long Island today?
It's been a very good week. I mean, the weeks are flying out here. Linda, what's interesting about Long Island is, I cover everywhere from Manhasset out to Montauk. And so what happens on any given day is, it's my turf. We cover it. I'm going to show you right here. I got my photographer, Jimmy, right next to me. We both hang out in our cars together. We are in tandem all day. And this is our beat. This is what we cover. On Monday, we did a story about Fueling Kindness, a local oil company that's been giving and gifting oil out to residents who need a little bit extra help.
I saw that. That was a great story.
And at a time where you had the government shutdown, when the story aired, these are people who need help.
Yes.
So many of them could use a little extra help. Tuesday, Linda, we covered Warrior Ranch Foundation for Veterans Day. Aww. It was really nice. Just veterans and first responders who are dealing with PTSD. They're able to get on a horse, they're able to groom the horses and just really be able to connect with them. Not only are the veterans recovering and the first responders, but also the horses had been rescued as well. So this was kind of like a full circle moment. It was really special to be there.
Very sweet, mutually beneficial.
For sure. And so every day is just so different. And of course, you know all too well how your day starts is not necessarily how it ends.
That's
if there's breaking news, we know, we pivot.
Yeah, absolutely. We are experts at pivoting.
Sure are.
And being flexible. Hey, do me a favor, because Jimmy's in the car right next to you. Are you able to hop out of your car and just have him open the back door of his so that people can see what it looks like inside these SUVs with the editing equipment? Because this is really your portable office.
This is where I work. You work at a desk. You have a desk. This is my office. Yesterday, I was able to give a behind-the-scenes look at my office, and today, we'll be able to see Jimmy's. And so this is his truck. It's really cool. So many people question whether or not it's a spaceship. A lot of people wonder about the satellite on the top, and here he is. Hold on one second. Let me just turn this screen around.
Let me see Jimmy. I want to see Jimmy. I haven't seen him in a long time.
Let's show you Jimmy.
Hey,
one thing about Jimmy is he always stays safe. He has his seatbelt on even when the car is in park. I like that. It's safety first out here on Long Island. And this is his truck. He didn't know we were coming here, Linda, and he keeps it so clean.
It's spotless.
This is basically, this is his edit bay. This is where we do everything. This is his computer. This is his rack. He has his gear here. It's all protected. And this is virtually where we are every single day to turn our story that airs you know, on Channel 5 and My 9. It's neat. Long gone are the days where you had to bring a tape into the city to be able to get it to air.
A
I mean, this
tape?
is the future.
A tape? What are you talking about? A tape?
Those were the days. I mean, I used to go deck to deck when I started editing.
Yeah.
And so here we are, the Long Island team out here. And this is what we do. And this is my favorite. When it gets sunny out, he has this curtain. Sorry, Jim. We'll put this back later. He always is able to close this so the glare doesn't get in his eyes.
Well,
so
the glare, but in addition to that, to try and keep some of the heat out of the truck, because it can get, oh God, so hot inside, especially during the, you know, during the middle of the summer. It can be brutal.
And I don't distract him, so that's a good thing.
Yeah.
So this is the village of Islandia. Before I say bye,
oh, okay.
I mean, could you imagine people showing up here and questioning, like, I don't know, why aren't my leaves being removed, or I have a tree on my property that has to be taken down. It's a public property and I'm nervous about it.
Yeah.
So
if you're retired, you would be able to do that. You would have the time to do it. But if you're working and you're working full time, you're not going to have the time. But anyway, so you're going to are you going to be bringing us more on that tonight at 5 and 6? What's your schedule?
I believe tonight it's at 5. And so after I hang up with you, I have a Zoom with an attorney who's a municipal attorney. His name's Paul Sabatino.
Okay.
He'll basically break it down for us and explain it. I was on the phone with him before. He said it could be some sort of imitation tactic and he doesn't like it.
Okay.
We'll hopefully, as I said earlier, hear back from the village official who I was trying to get a hold of today, and we'll speak to people. You know, a lot of what I do out here is hearing from people. It's telling the stories of the people. What do they have to say about it?
Absolutely. And that's what we do, right? As journalists, we're out on the street, and that's how we get the pulse of what's happening, because we're actually face to face with these folks from community to community. So they're the ones, if they're happy, they let us know, and if they're not happy, they let us know what they're not happy about. Which is great.
And we bring it to you.
And we bring it to you. Okay, Jody, thanks so much. And thanks, Jimmy, again.
I'll tell him, good to see you.
For playing with us today.
Love it. Have a good weekend.
We'll see you.
And
yeah,
a good
you
day.
too. Okay, you're going to see Jody. Bye-bye. We're going to see Jody Goldberg later on. I think she said she's going to be on the 6th. And, of course, you can see that right here on the Fox 5 local app. Also, our YouTube channel. We're going to take a quick break right now. When we come back, I'm going to be telling you a story about a New Jersey man who dies after a tick bite. And we have a interview with a doctor about this bizarre new syndrome. We'll be right back. Okay. All right, everybody, welcome back to Newsroom Live. This is one of our great camera shots. I want to go back to that camera shot. There we go. I like it. It's something new. I can't get enough. I mean, a dynamo. So thank you, Alex, for all the help that you do. So what we're going to talk about right now is this. This is just one of the most bizarre stories I have ever heard of. A healthy 47-year-old man from New Jersey, he just suddenly died. Suddenly died 4 hours after eating beef. So let's go ahead and go to this video here. This is what happened. If you get bit by a tick, it's called the Lone Star tick. If you get bit by that, it can actually trigger an allergy in you to red meat. And then if you eat red meat, you can die. I mean, this is just mind-blowing. It is called alpha-gal syndrome. And again, out of nowhere, a 47-year-old man has now been identified as the first person to abruptly die just 4 hours after eating beef. We have a doctor joining us right now, Dr. Rabia De La Tour. She is with NYU Langone. Doctor, are you with us?
Yes, how are you?
Thank you so much for joining us today. This is the most bizarre story. So in a nutshell here, and as you know, really dummy this down for us, what is this syndrome and how does it work?
It is a bizarre syndrome, and it's kind of a new syndrome. It was only really first described in 2007 from scientists at UVA. So basically what happens is you get bit by a Lone Star tick, and this tick essentially sensitizes your body to a very specific carbohydrate that's found on mammalian meat. So that's lamb, pork, and beef, and sometimes even some dairy products. And then what happens is you end up eating that meat again at a later date because you've never really been told or noticed that you had any sort of allergy to these mammalian meats before. And so the tick bite essentially gives you this allergy. And then you have meat in the future, or again, a dairy product potentially, and you develop symptoms of allergy, whether it's a rash, some people have nausea, people have also described significant abdominal pain. But in this case, what was really concerning is it's the first case of anyone ever dying from what they think is anaphylaxis from repeated red meat exposure, specifically in this man. Okay. So it's the first death from alpha-gal syndrome or ingestion, again, of red meat that you've become allergic to. And it's the first case of what they think is anaphylaxis from meat ingestion.
Where you just find it, you stop breathing. You can't breathe. It's like with the nut allergy or an egg allergy.
Yes. So again, this man, what happened to him again was was diagnosed after he passed away.
Right.
And so he had basically gotten a bunch of what his wife described as his chigger bites on his ankles one summer. He had steak at a camping event and became severely ill 3 hours after eating that meat. 2 weeks later, he had a hamburger at a picnic or a barbecue, and he died that day, or died shortly after that because they essentially sensitized his body and he had worse and worse allergic reactions. When he died, they didn't know what caused the death. And so he was basically diagnosed as having unexplained sudden death. And then people who tested his blood and his body after his death postmortem found that he had a significantly elevated blood test of something that can basically tell you if someone has mast cell activation or severe allergy. So they're deducing from this information that he had alpha-gal and he died from anaphylaxis.
Now, if he would have had an EpiPen, obviously he had no idea that he had this allergy that was triggered in him by this tick bite. But if he would have had an EpiPen, would that have saved his life?
Potentially. So a lot of this, again, this conjecture. We don't know. We weren't there. I wasn't there. And so if he was having typical symptoms of airway closure from an allergy, then yes, an EpiPen could have saved his life if that's what's thought to be the exact cause. But, it's kind of a deduction based on postmortem labs. And so there's a lot of question marks here.
Right.
But typical anaphylaxis, yes, can be treated with an EpiPen to try and help save somebody's life.
Okay, and you're talking about some dairy products. Can you tell me what those dairy products are that can also, if you eat these, that you could also die from this tick bite because it triggers this allergy to some of these products?
So what we know again from alpha-gal syndrome and patients who have it is that they need to avoid mammalian meats. But because, some dairy products are derived from mammals, from cows specifically, they're told to avoid dairy products as well to avoid, again, this trigger, the sensitization and allergy to any items that come from a mammal. So that's where the thought process is.
Okay. Why is it called the Lone Star tick? Because the moment that I heard that, the Lone Star state is Texas. Was that the first case or something, or is that just a coincidence?
Yeah, I don't know exactly why it's called that. I think it's because it has some sort of, pattern on its back. I don't know why the tick was named that specifically. That's a great question, but we're seeing most of the cases on the East Coast.
Oh, really? Most of them on the East Coast? How many cases have there been?
I don't know the exact total of how many cases there have been, but we know that it was first described in 2007, so a rarely new disease.
Wow. And so, because it is new and we're hearing about it, and this is really going to be mind-blowing for a lot of people because it's going to be brand new information. And one more thing that we all have to worry about. But what are some symptoms that people can look for? Because you're saying the first time that he ate meat, he was somewhere at a family gathering or something like that, and he got sick, and then it happened again, and it was the second time when he sadly passed away. So what are some of the symptoms people can look for?
Absolutely. So you want to look for typical symptoms of allergy after you ingest red meat or any sort of mammalian meat. Again, that can be lamb, beef, or pork. And once you have it, you can have typical allergy symptoms like a rash. Some people develop nausea, other people can develop vomiting, and then severe cases, they can have significant abdominal pain that happens a few hours after eating this meat. And now the reason why we don't know exactly how many people might have had it is because if you were to go to a party and have, or a restaurant and have some meat, and then a few hours later you have significant abdominal pain, you'd assume that the food was not of good quality or that it was infected with something. You wouldn't think you're having an allergic reaction to the meat itself, which is why we think alpha-gal is probably underreported, and estimates that there may be as many as 450,000 Americans currently who have actually been exposed to the Lone Star tick and might be sensitized to alpha-gal and might have alpha-gal syndrome. But again, we don't know the exact numbers for a reason, because most people will assume it's some type of food poisoning if they're vomiting after eating, not necessarily.
So now that people are hearing about this, because now we're going to see it everywhere on the news, and people are going to see it on TikTok and on X and Facebook, people are going to be talking about this. If you do have beef and you do get sick, should you automatically go to the doctor? I mean, real quickly, because we're going to be running out of time here in a second, but should you go to the doctor right away or a clinic?
I don't think it's unreasonable to seek medical attention, whether that's in the form of a phone call but if you're having severe symptoms and you're not sure what's going on with your body, it's never wrong to seek medical attention.
Okay. All right. Terrific. Hey, Dr. Rabia Delatour with NYU Langone, thank you so much. We appreciate your professional opinion and information on this and your insights. So thanks so much. Okay. That wraps it up for us today. Thanks for joining us, folks.
Thanks for watching Fox 5 New York. We're now joining live now from Fox.
The loss of any of our guardsmen is tragic.